Been almost 2 years since Breath of the Wild came out, and with news of new Zelda development and new jobs available for people to come develop this new Zelda, it makes you think, what is the next Zelda gonna be like? You don't have to search far to really get an answer for this. Alan Newman and the Zelda team have a long history of taking fan feedback to heart. Before the release of Wind Waker, there was a GameCube tech demo, and it showed off this very mature, very realistic Link and Ganondorf fight. And it got a lot of fans very excited for the future of Zelda. They saw this new dark approach to Zelda and they're like, wow, that looks really cool. I can't wait for that to be a thing. And then with the release of Wind Waker, everyone was left with like, where's our dark Zelda? This ain't it. And so because of this backlash with Wind Waker, we were graced with Twilight Princess. That's not the only example that we see this with. With Skyward Sword, the game was very linear and very straightforward, and it held your hand quite a bit. And because of this, fan feedback heavily influenced the development of Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is one of the most unlinear games ever created. You can go straight to Ganon if you want. And so because of this, we got to look at the gripes and the feedback that people have been giving about Breath of the Wild to look to see what the next Zelda could possibly be. Now, some of the biggest complaints that I know of right offhand for Breath of the Wild is people don't like that it rained too much. But all seriousness, people wanted more dungeons, more traditional dungeons, and not just the Divine Beast. The Divine Beast pattern, while it was, interesting, it didn't really have the same kind of uniqueness that Zelda fans come to expect when it comes to dungeons. All of the Divine Beasts were relatively kind of the same. It wasn't really too different in terms of the actual dungeon itself. The other big thing for a lot of people was the story. People wanted a more in-depth and a more engrossing story instead of the kind of shallow, listen here phone, instead of the kind of shallow story that we got from Breath of the Wild. Not to say that the story wasn't good and wasn't entertaining, because I personally enjoyed it, but I think the overwhelming consensus with everybody was that they would have liked to have had some more story in it. So, what can we gather from this? We can discern that the next game is probably going to have a lot more focus into dungeons and into story. And that to me is incredible, because they are more than likely going to be pulling a Majora's Mask with Breath of the Wild, because the game engine is near flawless. It is a perfect building block for them to create more Zelda games off of, and it would be foolish of them not to do so. The physics engine alone is just impeccable. So with this building block that is the Breath of the Wild engine, you have the mass bulk of the game development already done for you, and you know what people want, so you can do that. And with the rumor mill going amiss as it always does, there is the potential that we could see a new Zelda game this year. It's been it was, I think, tail end of 2017, very early 2018, that the news that the new development had begun for Zelda, and over the last couple months, all these job listings coming out and everything, and then just the rumors themselves, it makes for a very, very interesting year for 2019 in The Legend of Zelda. So I think if we do get a new Zelda this year, it's going to either be something, maybe not a direct sequel or prequel or anything directly tied to Breath of the Wild, but it is definitely for sure going to be using the same engine. If it doesn't, I for sure think if there is a Zelda game coming out this year, it's either going to be a remaster or it's going to be a top-down, like Link Between Worlds, Link to the Past style. But that, to me, is very low on the likelihood. Breath of the Wild style game definitely seems like the route that they're going to be going. And honestly, they should. If you look at the similarity between Ocarina of Time to Wind Waker, it took 2 years for that game to come out between the two. I mean, it was a year of development for Majora's Mask. Not to say that they can't be doing the same thing here. The Zelda team is very, very big, and they could be potentially doing something like this. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's going to be a Zelda game that comes out this year? And if so, what do you think it's going to be? What are some of your hopes that the new Zelda will have? I hope to God that we get something more like, if they could give me a Zelda game with the Witcher 3 level story, I would be content. I would be happy. It would be, That's going to do it for this video, guys. I would have had a video up sooner, but the video that I was working on got blocked twice. Yeah, it was not very fun having to go back through and re-edit just for it to be blocked again. So I'm sorry for the lack of videos recently, but that is in part one of the reasons why. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.